Hola mi gente, ¿cómo están? I'm Sean, Spanish 55 brand ambassador, and in this video today we are going to be talking about 9 of the most common mistakes that gringos, non-native speakers like you and me, well probably like you if you're watching this video, make when we're speaking Spanish. Bienvenidos al video de hoy, vámonos. Now, I've been speaking Spanish fluently for about 9 years, and I speak 5 languages total, but I still make a lot of the pronunciation mistakes that we're going to go over in this video, so pay close attention. Now, as I mentioned, we're going to be going over 9 common pronunciation mistakes with really 9 common letters in Spanish. About 7 of them are from an article on thoughtco.com, 7 common Spanish pronunciation mistakes you should avoid. We're going to put a link in the description below. I've also got a couple others that I'm going to add on as well. Now we're going to go in alphabetical order here, so I'm going to start with the B sound, specifically the confusion between what sounds the B and the V make in Spanish. So I guess it's not quite alphabetical because we're starting with the V as well, but you get my point. Okay, so what is the difference between the B and the V sound in Spanish? The answer is nada. Not really. It's not really anything. I believe in ancient Spanish language, the way it was originally properly spoken, there might have been a distinction, but now they're basically pronounced the same way. Una vaca, un bebé, el vecino, del barrio, V, they might as well be the exact same letter. The good news for all of us is that once we realize that they're basically the same sound, we only have to learn one sound, and it's a pretty easy sound to make in this case. The second one is D, la de. You notice I'm not saying la de, it's la de. Basically in English, when we say the D sound, we're putting our tongue on the roof of our mouth. D, let's do it, right? D. But in Spanish, you're actually not doing that. Proper Spanish, you want to be pronouncing the D almost as if it were like a TH sound like the, right? La de David. And this is actually my favorite part of the video where I get to make my pitch for discipline. I always talk about being disciplined when you learn Spanish, no matter what your study style is, no matter how exactly you're doing it, who you're studying with. The key is discipline, disciplina, right? You need to study every day. It's better to study just for 10 minutes a day daily than to study for a 3-hour session 1 time per week or 2 times per month, right? So discipline, disciplina. Really focusing on that D sound here, right? La disciplina. How about this? La disciplina para estudiar diariamente. Stop, pause the video right now and say that 10 times fast. La disciplina para estudiar diariamente. La disciplina para estudiar diariamente. Give it a shot. Disciplina. Next one is la letra E, the letter E. So we know that it's pronounced like more of an E sound instead of an E sound, right? But typically we gringos end up saying it way too much with way too much of like a Y ending to it, like A. For example, when we're saying cheese in Spanish, we often find ourselves saying queso instead of queso. Next on the list is confusion between the J and the G. Maybe I'm the one that's confused. The J and the G, yeah. La J y la G, the J and the G, very confusing. La J, the J, is basically always like an H sound in English. There are some names and things like that where it actually does sound like a J at the beginning, but that's another topic for another day. So basically when you see a J in Spanish, it's going to be like an H sound, right? Jugo, jardín, jefe, etc., etc. Now the G, on the other hand, la G, gets a little bit more complicated. When it's followed by an A, O, or U, it has just like a hard G sound. El gato. If, on the other hand, the G is followed by an E or an I, it's like a soft H sound instead. Por lo general, la gente se confunde con esas letras. Next one is the silent H. We shouldn't have to talk about this a lot, right? Because the first phrase you probably learn in your beginner Spanish class is yo hablo español. There are still some gringos out there who are making the mistake of saying yo hablo español, él habla, ella habla. Remember, the H is silent on these ones, guys. Check out Spanish55.com to find a native Spanish-speaking online tutor that will take your Spanish to the next level. The next one is la L, the L. In Spanish, when pronouncing the L sound, your tongue should always be directly touching the roof of your mouth. In English, sometimes when we make an L sound at the end of the word, we end up kind of pushing the tongue like at the roof of our mouth, but towards the back of the front teeth to touch it, if that makes any sense. Like in English, we'll say like tall, small, little. It's like coming forward, right? We don't want to do that in Spanish. In Spanish, we always want to make sure that it's just touching the roof of our mouth. Here's some examples. ¿Qué tal? Muy mal. Global. Those are just some random examples. Next one is la R, the R. And you can tell this one is a tough one for me because I can barely even pronounce the letter right still. Any gringo that can pronounce the R perfectly correctly in Spanish should be receiving some sort of an award. It's tough, right? I mean, we know it's not like a super hard R. We all know that, right? La letra R no es mi letra favorita, right? We know it's not like that. But how do we pronounce it exactly? Well, the article that I mentioned at the beginning actually does a great job of describing it by saying that it's sort of like if you were to say the word paddle or the word little in English, it's almost like the way that the two D's in paddle and the two T's in little are pronounced. It's crazy, right? We're talking about a R here. It's really confusing. But what you're doing, like in paddle and little, with the two D's and the two T's, is you're just kind of barely touching your tongue to the roof of your mouth. La letra R no es mi letra favorita, pero ya la estoy diciendo mejor. Next one is the letter U, la U. Now, there are numerous ways that the U can be screwed up in Spanish, but the most common way is just putting like a Y sound in front of it, the way we do in English sometimes. So you, instead of saying usar, you might say usar, like to use, right? That's not correct, it's usar. And the last one, of course, is the Z, la zeta. It's not pronounced the way we pronounce a Z, like a buzzing sound in English. It's pronounced basically like an S, in Latin America anyway. In Spain, it's pronounced sort of like a TH, but we won't worry about that for now. So it's basically like an S sound. So if you want to say you're going to the zoo, it's not yo voy al zoológico, it's yo voy al zoológico. Kind of distinct in there. Did I say that right? Nah. Yo voy a bailar zumba? No, yo voy a bailar zumba. Y bueno chicos, eso es todo por el video de hoy. I hope you guys liked it. I really want you to practice these sounds, these common pronunciation mistakes, because certainly like me, you're probably making some of them. So every day in your daily practice sessions, really focus on these letters and these sounds. Listen to yourself whenever possible. Record yourself, listen to yourself, practice daily, really focus on these sounds, focus on pronouncing them slowly as well. That way you make sure you get it right. Just practice slowly and then you'll be able to pick up speed later on once you get the actual pronunciation correct, doing it slowly for a while. I know you guys are gonna get this. Thank you for tuning in. If you guys are looking for more grammar tips and related videos, be sure to check out Anna's videos on Spanish 55 as well. They're excellent. Also hit the subscribe button to get notified when the next video is coming out. Check out Spanish55.com to find a native Spanish speaking online tutor that will take your Spanish to the next level. All right guys, thanks for tuning in y hasta pronto.